What would you think if I told you that your social circle is not the safety net you've been promised, but a gilded spider web designed to keep you vibrating at the same low frequency as everyone else? Today, perhaps more than ever, the cult of connection has become a collective prison. You're told that loneliness is a pathology, a failure of character, a sign that you are somehow broken. But the Machiavellian mind looks at the crowded room and sees only a marketplace of mutual exploitation, a chaotic exchange of favors that are actually just high-interest loans on your energy. The truth that the world desperately wants to hide from you is that the most dangerous person in any social hierarchy is the one who has looked at the exit, walked through it, and found that the silence on the other side is not a vacuum, but a throne. Loneliness is not a lack of companionship, it is the presence of absolute self-sovereignty. Imagine the archetypal subject of our era, a 2D animated avatar of the social butterfly, fluttering frantically from group chat to happy hour, terrified of a notification-free screen. This character is a master of peer-reviewed mediocrity. He cannot make a decision without a committee, cannot enjoy a meal without digital witnesses, and cannot face his own thoughts without the anesthetic of a friend's voice. In the Machiavellian theater, this person is the ultimate subordinate. He is a node in a network he doesn't control, paying a biological tax of time and focus to maintain alliances with people who would drop him the moment his utility runs dry. He is broke, spiritually and temporally, because he has invested all his capital in the approval of others. He is a hostage to the tribal ghost, that ancient evolutionary fear that being kicked out of the group means death. But you are living in an age where the tribe is no longer your survival, it is your distraction. You must understand that friends, in the raw calculus of power, are often the most effective vectors for sabotage. Machiavelli famously noted that a prince should rely on himself, for the loyalty of others is a shifting sand. Friends know your vulnerabilities. They have been granted a backstage pass to your insecurities. They are the ones who will check your ego when you start to succeed, pulling you back into the bucket of crabs with a well-timed, "just stay humble," or a dismissive joke. They aren't trying to help you. They're trying to protect their own relative status. When you are alone, you are a closed-loop system. There are no leaks in your hull. No one knows your next move, your current bank balance, or your secret ambitions. By cutting the cord of friendship, you are not becoming a hermit. You are becoming an enigma, and an enigma is impossible to manipulate.
Look at the satirical absurdity of the support system. We see characters in our animated world crying on each other's shoulders, exchanging platitudes like currency. But look closer. One person is venting, and the other is simply waiting for their turn to speak, a mutual masturbation of the ego that leaves both parties exactly where they started, stagnant. The Stoic masters like Seneca understood that he who is everywhere is nowhere. By spreading your energy across 50 friends, you have diluted your essence into a thin, flavorless broth. You are a jack of all social trades and a master of none of your own potential. Monk mode is the radical withdrawal of this energy. It is the tactical decision to stop subsidizing the lives of others with your attention. Stop now and audit the friendship tax you've been paying. Every hour spent listening to a drama you didn't create, every dollar spent on a meal you didn't want, every compromise made to keep the peace. These are the bricks you should have been using to build your own monument. The world calls this being a good friend, but a more honest name for it is voluntary servitude. You are being conditioned to fear your own company, because in your company, you might actually hear the voice of your own ambition. You might realize that you don't need the group's permission to be great. The crowd loves the person you are because that person is safe and predictable. They will hate the person you are becoming because that person is a mirror of their own wasted lives. There is a profound, almost erotic power in the moment you realize you are enough.
When you stop looking for a reflection of your worth in the eyes of the many, you finally begin to see the world as it actually is, not as the group consensus demands it to be. You are entering a state of high-order observation. While the friends are busy performing for each other, you are the one sitting in the back of the theater, taking notes. You are the observer, the strategist, the one who can walk away without a backward glance. This is the God mode of social dynamics. You have replaced the fear of missing out with the joy of being forgotten, because being forgotten by the masses is the first step toward being remembered by history. You are no longer a participant in the noise. You are the architect of the silence.
The tragedy of the modern human is not that they are alone, but that they are terrified of the very thing that could save them. Consider the psychological phenomenon of social conformity, where the individual's intelligence is systematically diluted by the presence of the group. In the 2D animated storyboard of your life, friendship is often just a fancy word for a committee of losers who have collectively agreed on a speed limit for your success. Have you ever noticed how your most ambitious ideas are met with the most resistance from those closest to you? It's not because they want you to fail, it's because your ascent highlights their stagnation. They are the anchors pretending to be life jackets. By embracing the absolute cold of solitude, you are performing a radical surgery on your social IQ. You are removing the echo chamber of the mediocre and replacing it with the sharp, crystalline clarity of your own unadulterated judgment. This is where the Machiavellian strategist separates himself from the social herd. You must realize that every friend is a potential leak in your security system. Every secret shared, every weakness confessed in a moment of drunken vulnerability is a weapon you have handed to a potential enemy. In the cynical theater of human behavior, people are loyal only so long as their interests align with yours. When the tide turns, and it always does, the friend who knew your struggle will use that knowledge to rationalize your downfall. They will say they know the real you, which is code for I know how to hurt you. By choosing the path of the lone wolf, you are not being paranoid, you are being strategically airtight. You are the only person in the room who knows the password to your ambition. You have eliminated the risk of betrayal by the simple act of having no one close enough to stab you in the back. Look at the satirical comedy of Groupthink. Observe the characters in our vector-animated world, nodding in unison, wearing the same brands, laughing at the same approved jokes, and chasing the same hollow milestones. They are a multi-headed beast with zero brains. When you are part of a pack, your cognitive resources are spent navigating the delicate politics of the ego. Who is offended? Who needs to be validated? Who is the leader today? This is a massive drain on your psychic capital. To enter monk mode is to reclaim that capital and invest it entirely in your own vertical integration. You are no longer a member, you are a founder. While the group is busy arguing about where to eat dinner, you are busy deciding which industries to disrupt. You have traded the warmth of the huddle for the fire of the forge.
Provoke yourself for a moment. Why are you so desperate for the company of people who don't even like themselves? You seek friends to distract you from the terrifying reality that you are currently a work in progress with more bugs than features. You use social interaction as a sedative to numb the pain of your own unfulfilled potential. But the Stoic, the true student of Marcus Aurelius, knows that the mind is an inner citadel that must be fortified in silence. You cannot build a fortress in the middle of a carnival. You must withdraw. You must face the boredom, the silence, and the occasional crushing weight of your own existence. This is the dark night of the soul, where the broke version of you dies and the sovereign version is born. Loneliness is the tax you pay for the privilege of self-mastery. There is a dark, humorous irony in the way the world tries to guilt you into staying connected. They call it networking. They call it community. But in the Machiavellian reality, most networking is just a group of beggars trying to convince each other they are kings. You don't need a network if you are a power plant. People will find a way to plug into you once you have the juice. By stopping the frantic search for friends, you are telling the universe that you are the primary source of your own value. You are shifting from a pull strategy, begging for attention, to a push strategy, radiating such immense competence that the world has no choice but to notice. You are not lonely, you are unavailable. There is a massive psychological difference between the two. Imagine the freedom of a life where you never have to check in, never have to explain, and never have to compensate for the feelings of someone else. You are a sovereign state of one. Your schedule is a holy document, unpolluted by the whims of the many. In the 2D animated sequence of your new life, you see the character walking through a crowded street, completely invisible and completely powerful. He sees the friends trapped in their petty dramas, their situationships, and their competitive victimhood, and he simply smiles. He is a ghost in their machine. He has achieved the ultimate Machiavellian luxury, the power to be ignored until he chooses to be felt. You are building a life that is so rich in purpose that the presence of another person is an ornament, never a necessity. You have found the secret that the popular kids will never know, that the person who can sit in a room alone for 5 hours and be productive is the person who will eventually own the building.
The ultimate alchemy of the Machiavellian spirit is the transmutation of loneliness, a state of perceived lack, into solitude, a state of absolute abundance. In the final act of our 2D animated drama, we see the character undergo a structural transformation. The frantic, jagged lines of social anxiety smooth out into the calm, unbreakable geometry of the self-sovereign. You have reached the point where the social self, that parasitic entity that lived for the likes, the check-ins, and the validation, has finally been starved to death. In its place stands something far more formidable, a person who has discovered that the most profound conversation they will ever have is the one occurring in the silence of their own mind. You are no longer looking for a tribe to protect you because you have become the fortress. Do you still feel the itch, that phantom limb of social approval that twitches whenever you see a group of friends laughing in the distance? That is the old you, the subordinate you, crying out from the grave. Ignore it. The satirical truth of human nature is that the moment you truly, deeply stop caring about the group becomes obsessed with you. In our vector-animated world, the character who walks away from the party is the only one the partygoers talk about all night. Your absence is a vacuum, and a vacuum is a force of nature. By having no friends, you have removed the handles by which the world used to pull you. You are a smooth obsidian sphere. There's nothing to grab, nothing to guilt, and nothing to manipulate. You have achieved the stoic ideal of ataraxia, the state of being untroubled by the external noise of the masses. Observe the comical desperation of those you left behind. They will call your independence arrogance and your silence cruelty. They will invent elaborate theories for your withdrawal, because the truth that you simply found them irrelevant to your growth is a wound their egos cannot heal. This is the Machiavellian endgame. You have seized the ultimate leverage, the power of the no. You are no longer a participant in the social marketplace. You are the owner of the land the marketplace sits on. You have realized that the love of the crowd is a cheap, inflationary currency, while the respect of the self is a gold standard that never devalues. You are practicing the monk mode graduation ceremony, where the diploma is a bank account full of time and a soul full of unshakable peace. As you stand in the quiet temple of your own ambition, you see that the friends you once craved were merely mirrors that distorted your true image. They showed you a version of yourself that was small enough to fit into their lives. But now, in the absence of those mirrors, you are seeing your true proportions for the first time. You are massive. You are a mountain, and mountains do not seek the company of pebbles. Epictetus taught that we should keep company with those who may make us better, and if no such people exist, then the only company worthy of your time is the man or woman you see in the mirror. You have stopped being a consumer of human connection and started being a producer of your own reality. This is the rebirth. You emerge from the period of isolation not as a bitter hermit, but as a silent titan. You are no longer broke in spirit, constantly begging for the change of a social interaction. You are wealthy. You are whole. You have realized that the lonely seat at the top is the only seat with a clear view of the horizon. The 2D animated character of your old life has been replaced by a high-definition masterpiece of self-possession. You have detached from the digital tether, the tribal guilt, and the performative empathy. You have found the inner citadel, where the only voice that matters is the one that tells you to keep building, keep rising, and keep ignoring the chatter of the ants below. The world is a noisy, chaotic, and often hollow place, but you have found the quiet war and won it without firing a single shot. You have realized that every relationship you ever had was just a trial run for the one you now have with yourself. The friends were just training wheels you didn't need. The connections were just chains you mistook for lifelines. You are free. You are powerful. You are alone, and in that aloneness, you have finally found the king you were meant to serve. The animation ends here, not with a party or a crowd, but with a single, sharp silhouette standing against the dawn, perfectly still, perfectly calm, and completely untouchable. The most powerful person in the room is the one who doesn't need anyone else in it to feel like a king.